Hey there, Mr. Sutton here, bringing you the Pre-Cal Honors 3-7 Part 1 homework solutions on graphing rational functions. On this problem, we're trying to sketch the graph of this function, and they're giving us the following properties here for free. So let's go through and get each of these down on our graph. So no x-intercepts, don't have to worry about those. We have a y-intercept of -1/4, so let's stick that on here. That's about right here. We have a vertical asymptote at x equals 2. So a vertical dashed line going at 2. That'll guide our function. No holes to worry about. We have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. So that's on the x-axis here. And we almost have enough information to graph the whole thing. We're good on the left side here, but on the right side, we need another point to help anchor us, because we don't really know right now, am I above or below this horizontal asymptote? So I'm going to get an additional point. For the x value I'm going to plug in to get this point, I'm going to choose something to the right of this vertical asymptote, like x equals 3. If I plug 3 into this function here, let's see here, I've got 3 minus 2 down here is 1. Square that, we still get 1. -1/1 is -1. So we have the point 3, -1, which is right there. All right, now let me draw my branches. I'm going to go draw them so they go through the points on my graph and approach but do not cross the asymptote. So we've got one branch kind of going like this in the lower left, and another branch going like this in the lower right, and there's our graph. To graph this rational function, given all of the key features they've given me here, let me start with the x and the y-intercepts. Those will give me some points I can use. So we have an x-intercept at -1, which is right here. Y-intercept is at -1/3, so that's right here. Those are pretty close together, so I probably don't need both of them, but whatever, I'll just keep them on there. We have a vertical asymptote at x equals -3. That's back here. Nice vertical line going through there. No hole to worry about. I do have a horizontal asymptote at y equals -1, so horizontal line down here. And at this point, I know pretty much exactly where I want to draw my branch on the upper right side here, going through these points. But in the lower left or the upper left, I'm not really sure where I should put stuff to the left of the vertical asymptote. So I need an additional point somewhere over here on the left side. I'll use the x value -4. That's the first integer to the left of my vertical asymptote. So plugging -4 into the function here, we end up with -3 over, let's see here, this is 4 minus 3, so 1. So -3 over 1 is -3. So this is the point -4, -3, which is right down there. And now I can draw some branches. We've got a branch going through this point and approaching the asymptotes in the lower left, and another branch in the upper right approaching asymptotes and going through those 2 points. On this problem, they've given us a bunch of key features of a rational function, including the function itself, and they want us to sketch the graph. Let's start with the intercepts. Those are fairly straightforward to put on the axes. So for the x-intercept, we've got -1 right here. Y-intercept is 1/4, so that's up here. So those are pretty close together. We'll see what else we need in terms of points. We have a vertical asymptote at x equals 4. That's over here. And a horizontal asymptote at x equals -1. No hole to worry about, so we'll just move on with graphing this thing out. Now, it looks like I need some points, and at least one additional point over on the right side of this vertical asymptote, because right now there's nothing there to tell me where my graph should go. So let me pick the x value 5, because that's to the right of my vertical asymptote. Let me plug 5 into this function here. So I've got -5 minus 1, that's -6 up top. Down below, that's just 1. So that's a grand total of -6 if we reduce that. So we're at 5, -6 down there. And now I can go ahead and graph my 2 branches. On the left side, I'm going through these points, approaching the asymptotes as I get closer to them. Down below here, I'm going through this point that I just drew, and again, hugging those asymptotes. There's no hole to worry about, so this one is done. For this problem, I'm going to use the key features they gave me for this rational function to go ahead and sketch this graph. Let's start with the x-intercept of -2. So that's going to be right there. And we also have a y-intercept of -4/3, so that's right here. Next, a vertical asymptote of x equals -3, so vertical line going through -3. And then no hole to worry about. We do have a horizontal asymptote at -2, y equals -2 down here. And I've got lots of points on the right side of my vertical asymptote, so I have a pretty good idea of where that function has to go on the right side. On the left side, I have no idea. So I need an additional point on the left side of this vertical asymptote. I'm going to plug -4 into my original function here, and let me see what the y value is for that. So we have -4, -2 times -4 is 8 minus 4. So that's 4 in the numerator, -1 in the denominator. 4 over -1 is -4. Oh, so we have the point -4, comma, -4. It's nice how that works out. So right there. And now I have enough to graph everything. So my lower left branch is approaching asymptotes through that point that I just drew. In the upper right, we are approaching the asymptotes and going through the 2 points that I drew earlier, those 2 intercepts. There's no holes to worry about putting on afterwards, so we are finished with this one.